Hi. For those of you that don't know, my name is Donna-Leigh Perfect, and I am an international speaker on the topics of domestic violence, bullying and resilience. And I'm also a 3 times published author. I've written 2 children's books which are about my daughter and her rescue dog, Rocky Rockstar, and the beautiful life lessons he teaches her about kindness and compassion. And those books are in a series called The Adventures of Jessie and Rocky Rockstar. And I've also been part of an anthology series of 10 women's stories from around the globe of overcoming adversity and resilience. And that book is called Perfectly Bullied, Perfectly at Peace. I'm also a personal trainer, and I have recently completed my neuro-linguistic programming training, also timeline therapy. Having had a childhood of ongoing trauma, as an adult, I invested in a lot of different kinds of therapies to work through my trauma. And one of those therapies was timeline therapy and NLP. And it was by far the most transformative and fastest therapy that I had ever experienced. And so, if you are experiencing any kind of trauma in your life, then I would highly recommend that you look into NLP and timeline therapy as one type of therapy that can really transform you and shift you from a place of suffering to just new beginnings, really, new beginnings. So if you have just joined my YouTube channel, then please subscribe. Just push the subscribe button, it's free, and it helps me a lot. So my life changed very dramatically just under a year ago when I had been Airbnb-ing a house in Tugun on the Gold Coast as a super host during COVID. And it was an incredible experience sharing our home, my daughter and my home, with complete strangers during a pandemic. We're challenging and exciting and adventurous time for us. The purpose of us sharing our home and sacrificing our privacy was in the hope that we would be saving toward a deposit to buy the home of a friend of mine. And she reneged on that deal and sold the house at a huge profit and basically kicked us out. I shifted into my van because I realized very quickly that to pay rent on my own. So I shifted into my van, Van Halen, and I worked for a number of months while stealth camping on the Gold Coast to save enough money to go on a road trip to the bottom of New South Wales, across the Victorian border, into the Great Ocean Road, Mount Gambier, Robe, up into Victoria again, Barossa Valley, across to Euston, Gunning, and over to Jervis Bay and back up to Sydney. And what an incredible solo trip that was, how empowering it was for me as a solo female, having gone exploring in a van, sometimes in national parks, completely alone. When I left the Gold Coast at the beginning of January, I was pretty afraid. I was pretty scared of how that was going to be, how I would take care of myself if something went wrong, who I could rely on. And of course, I decided that I would just take the leap of faith. And I've had a number of friends and other solo female vanlifers that have been considering taking a solo trip around Australia, or who had started their solo adventure and had experienced some really debilitating anxiety. They'd experienced this anxiety while driving, and maybe it was when they first set off, which actually stopped them going forward with their dream of travelling around Australia solo, or they'd experienced this at some stage during their solo van life adventure. It seems to be a really common problem for a lot of people, and specifically I'm just addressing right now as female solo van lifers. And first of all, I just want to give you all the encouragement in the world for even contemplating getting in a van and travelling any part of Australia on your own. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of confidence, and motivation, and get up and go. And just facing your fears. The first thing is to celebrate the fact that you're even considering doing it. I myself have experienced on a number of occasions anxiety and panic attacks, and they're not fun. They can be scary and debilitating and put you in a real state of uncertainty, vulnerability, and panic. And what I've learnt in my experience from anxiety in the past and panic attacks is I believe that when it comes to anxiety lives more in the future or the past. And I don't believe that anxiety can really live in the moment. So by being mindful and staying present actually reduces anxiety. When you're ever feeling anxious, just try and bring yourself back to the present moment, because it may have just been a fleeting thought of, wondering what is going to happen in the future. Your thoughts have been taken there and it triggers something. It may be something that you've thought about in your past, something that you're afraid may happen again from a past experience. And so by actually bringing yourself back to a state of mindful presence actually reduces anxiety. And if you can focus on your breath in that moment, so just by focusing on the inward and the outward breath and taking deep breaths, and while you're focusing on your breath, just be mindful of your surroundings. Just things like looking at the trees, the sky, just staying as present as you possibly can. Listening to your favorite music and singing along to your favorite song. Maybe listening to one of your favorite podcasts while you're driving. It may be when you're out and about and you're running around at the shops and you've got 100 things on your mind, and then all of a sudden this anxiety and panic attack hits you. It's often because we are living in a state of future or past tense. We're either worried about what might happen because of the past, or we're worried about what could happen in the future. So if we can stay present and just take a moment, even if you stop at the shops and just find a chair and sit and focus on your breath and be present and just be in that moment. And I guarantee you it'll help you so much in reducing your anxiety. And just believe that you can do this. And so what I would suggest is that just taking little tiny steps, maybe parking your van or your camper van or your caravan outside and just camping out on that one night, increasing that to 2 or 3 nights a week, and booking the nearest caravan park to you and just taking a night or 2 away on your own, and then just slowly increasing that to maybe a few nights. The other option also is to find a buddy, a van life buddy that you can convoy with. share the experience with another girlfriend, another friend that's doing it. Meet up with somebody on your journey, have a coffee, and just have a chat about where you plan to go and what you plan to explore next, and let them share with you all of their amazing adventures too. You can do it. And when you do, you wish you'd started earlier. That's my experience anyway. So I'm currently dog sitting on the Central Coast, and I have been here nearly 5 weeks, and I've just got one more night to go, and then I'm heading into Sydney to do some repeat dog sitting for a few weeks, and then I'm heading north. I'll call into the Gold Coast to see my daughter, and then heading up the coast. I'm ready to get back into Van Halen. Don't forget to subscribe.